So I've gone and replaced my lighting system here. So it's probably more even light. My last light was overheating on the plug, on the USB plug, no matter where I plugged it in. As you remember, it kept overheating and then shutting off. So I went there and they had another kind of light too. So I bought a duplicate of what I had plus another light and put it on the old stand. So I've got two lights here. So I think it'll be a lot more even, nicer lighting. Everything's new, the microphone's new, although it's thinner. So I might use the old one anyway. We'll see how the sound is. Excuse me. Hope it's not good enough to hear my burps. So what I want to do today is just read where the Lord was calling me as I was sitting here. And that's in Mark. And this is Mark chapter 4. Jesus says, "For there is nothing hidden which will not be revealed, nor has anything been kept secret, but that it should come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." So we've heard something like this before, preached, even in the apostate churches. But it says, there's nothing hidden which will not be revealed. And if you take Jesus' words to heart, then any time you go to hide something or do something that's hidden, hide that from people. If you take it to heart, you know that that's useless. You know it's only temporary that you're able to hide it. Anything and everything being hidden is only temporary, and everything that you've hidden will be revealed. That's what he says. He says there's nothing that's hidden that will not be revealed. Everything. Nor has anything been kept secret, but that it should come to light. When you want to keep a secret, don't tell anyone. Don't worry. It will come to light. Every secret will come to light. Every secret will have the light of Christ shine on it so that everyone knows. So everything you've done in your past, everyone will know. There will come a day where everyone will suddenly know. Everything that you've done in the past has been secret, that's been hidden. And if you know this, if you really believe what Jesus said and what he taught, then you realize that you need to not do things that you wouldn't do in front of everyone else. You say, well, what about a husband and wife having sex in their room and making love? You wouldn't do that in front of everyone else. But you know that that's not what Jesus is talking about. And so this is the way that the apostate Christians think. They want to undermine what Jesus taught. They'll find whatever they can in order to malign what Jesus has said. I've talked to young men who do this, and they're constantly doing it. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? And I tell them, I say, stop walking on the curb to see how close to the street you can walk without getting hit by a car, because an overhanging mirror is going to smack you in the head and knock you in the street and run you over. Walk in the middle of the sidewalk. Stop asking how close I can get to the edge. That's not how to live the Christian life. You live the Christian life walking in the middle of the sidewalk. You walk as Jesus walked. Let's keep going. Verse 23, if anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. That becomes a very important part of Jesus' teaching. That some people do not hear what he's saying. And what I just said demonstrates it. And I said that as an example of what these men do. When you're trying to teach them, you're trying to teach them what Jesus taught. This says, if anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And it's not let, it's he must hear. Verse 24, then he said to them, take heed what you hear. Well, let's see what that exactly says in the Greek, because I'm here in my New King James Version. We're going to turn over to Mark chapter 4, verse 24. Okay. And it says here, look at to perceive what you are hearing. You must be looking at to perceive what you are hearing. Wow. Now that's strong. You must be looking at to perceive what you are hearing. That's what Jesus said. Take heed what you hear? Kind of a watered down way. You must be looking at to perceive what you are hearing. With the same measure that you use, it will be measured to you. And to you who hear, more about hearing, and to you who hear, more will be given. So the ones who, they're there, but they're not hearing, they're not going to get any more. No, but to those who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away from him. You think that Christians cannot lose their salvation? Jesus says, whoever has, he says, whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. How can someone not have if he has? Well, that's the riddle. He has salvation, but he's not taking in more than what he got at the beginning to sneak in the door. He just wanted to get in the door. He didn't want to have to work for anything else and think and listen and do anything else. He just wanted to get in the door to be safe from the fire outside. That's it. He's going to be thrown back outside. That's not what salvation is about. It's not just about you. It's about God. It's about doing His will and proving His reputation is good and being shown as just because you prove that God is true with what you believe and what you do. We've talked about that. A lot of the videos recently have gone through that to try to help you to escape the apostate church deceptions about justification and faith and works, so that you hear what the Bible teaches about it and what Jesus teaches about it. So whoever has, to him more will be given. So as you do listen and receive and look at to perceive what you are hearing, and you have more and you're given more, and you do the same with that, as you do the same with that, what you're doing is you're accumulating to yourself. Because if you don't look at to perceive, then you don't have it, because you don't understand it. That's part of the hearing. But whoever does not have, whoever is not looking at to perceive what they hear, and even not hearing, because that's complete hearing, just the hearing part is the believing, but the looking at to perceive is the doing. It completes it. It's the same way. You can hear something, but unless you look at to perceive it, you haven't completely heard it. You haven't completed that hearing. You've heard it and taken it in. Well, that's better than the next guy who wasn't even listening. But you're not finished. To complete that hearing, you must look at it to perceive what it is. Then you have it. It's like faith and actions. You're not completely persuaded until you've done it. That completes the persuasion. It's part of it. Just like the looking at to perceive is part of the hearing. And he said, the kingdom of God, which is literally the royalty of God, is as if a man should scatter seed on the ground. I can't tell you how many of these he talks about scattering seed. And should sleep by night and rise by day, and the seed should sprout and grow. He himself does not know how. He doesn't need to know how, does he? He just does it, and it happens. For the earth yields crops by itself. First the blade, then the head, after that the full grain in the head. But when the grain ripens, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. He says, this is what the kingdom of God is like. The man sows the seeds. He scatters these seeds on the ground. He sleeps at night. He gets up in the day. He sleeps at night. He gets up in the day, and the thing is growing. He doesn't have to know how it grows for it to grow. He doesn't have to know how the earth does it in order for it to be done. It's done. That's the same with the kingdom of God. You don't have to know how we're saved in order to be saved. You don't have to know how someone is saved in order for someone to be saved by your preaching. Verse 30, then he said, to what shall we liken the kingdom of God, or the royalty of God? Or with what parable shall we picture it? It is like a mustard seed, which when it is sown on the ground, another one, is smaller than all the seeds on the earth. But when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all the herbs. Greater meaning like bigger. And shoots out large branches so that the birds of the air may nest under its shade. And with many such parables he spoke the word to them as they were able to hear it. And the word was not the Old Testament, because they didn't have the New Testament. This is the gospel. They didn't have the New Testament. They had the Old Testament, and he wasn't speaking that to them. That's not in the Old Testament. It says he was speaking the word to them. And with many such parables, he spoke the word to them as they were able to hear it. But without a parable, he did not speak to them. And when they were alone, he explained all things to his disciples. So, What about this mustard plant? Even the smallest, tiniest seed grew up, grew branches that stretched out. A lot of these branches. So much so that even the birds would nest under the shade of those branches, almost as if it's a tree. Is that you? Have you grown up as a Christian and reached out your branches and grown these long, thick branches that create shade, cool shade beneath them? So that other Christians in flight can come down and rest under those and be nourished, be protected from the heat of the sun. Have you done that? Why not? Why not? You must do that. You must do that. May the Lord bless you as you seek Him with all your heart.